You probably already know that Claude Code is by far the best coding agent in the world. It can create entire apps from a simple prompt, both front end and back end. It can blow your mind in terms of the design of that app. But what you might not know is you can actually use Claude Code as a general agent. And Anthropic released something really interesting a few weeks ago. They released what is called Claude Skills, which is just a special type of markdown file which allows you to surround Claude Code with relevant skills. So if you wished that you had an AI agent that had relevant skills, I believe that this is probably the most important thing that you could be studying right now. And so in this video, we're going to talk about how to set up Claude skills. We're also going to talk about how to use Claude Code as a general agent, and we're going to talk about how you need to set up your skill.md file and what folders, and I'm going to show you how to just use AI to create these skills. Let's talk about building a general agent with relevant skills for your business, whether you're a content creator, business owner, aspiring entrepreneur. We're going to build an agent with relevant skills to you, and we're going to use that agent. Let's dive in. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about what is a coding agent. You may have heard of Lovable, and this video is not about Lovable. We're not even going to use Lovable. I just wanted to make a point real quick. So many people are talking about vibe coding. You can use tools like Lovable, Replit, Vibe Code. These are coding agents that you can use to build apps. And whenever I go to Lovable and type in make a landing page about pizza, right now what it's doing is it's spinning up a sandbox, which is basically a virtual computer, and it's going to run an AI agent or an AI coding agent on the side, and now it's going to generate a bunch of files within a directory or code base, and those files are going to make an app. And so this is an AI coding agent at work building an app. Okay, so it's done. The Lovable coding agent took my prompt, make a landing page about pizza. It generated all of the files. This coding agent decided what files it needed to generate. It generated them, and then it probably reviewed those files, and then it ran the program in a virtual computer somewhere so I can see it on my browser, because this is within a web browser. And so this is an example of an agent made specifically for creating simple applications, a very narrow agent experience where it's made specifically for creating certain types of apps with certain stacks. And we could do this same thing on our computer, right? We could do the same thing on our computer. If we were to go to Finder, we can just go straight into our downloads, right? We can go straight into our downloads, and we could go new folder. We can go like this. We can say using Claude Code, right? So we don't even need any IDE or something like Cursor or Lovable. I can open a terminal window. I can open a new terminal at this folder, and we can just run Claude. So now we're running Claude Code in this empty folder called using Claude Code, which is an empty folder, and I can just say, please build a beautiful, amazing landing page for my pizza shop, Riley's Pizza Shop. Make it in the style of neo-brutalism mixed with a friendly pizza energy. So just like Lovable, we can run this. And Claude Code in this empty folder is going to create the application right here. Okay, check this out. It just generated an index.html file. And there we go. It created a file the same way that Lovable is creating all the different files and putting them in a folder in some virtual machine. It's just a virtual computer. We're doing this on our computer. It's doing the same exact thing Lovable is doing. And the point I want to make here, you can just use these coding models on your computer. And coding files, right? This is an HTML file, and this is a CSS file. This is not the only type of file you can create with Claude Code. You can create any type of file. So it is done, and if we just copy this link right here and we paste in localhost 8080, we can run this on our computer. This is running locally on our computer, where Lovable, in Lovable's case, it just created a virtual machine, and it ran it on that computer, and it showed you what it created on the browser. Now we're running this fully on our computer, and we didn't use any like software in between. We generated the code files with an AI coding agent on our computer. It used an AI model from Anthropic's servers to create those files, so that's where it costs money, but we didn't use any other software other than getting Claude to generate all the files, and we're running it on our MacBook Pro. And this is the website that it created. And you'll notice that, in my opinion, I've tested every single one of these coding agents. Just raw Claude code is the best in the world. So Replit and Lovable, they have their own coding agents. Claude code out of the box is better than all of them. And so what I want to explain now is how you can use this as a general agent. So this right here is Obsidian. And this is just a basic notes app where every file, instead of the files being an HTML file or a JavaScript file or a CSS file, which ultimately created this application that we can use, instead of it being one of those types of files, these are all markdown files. So the way that I use general agents is I actually use Claude Code at the same location as my notes. Like, this is my agent workspace. This is kind of how I think about this. This is a notebook, and Riley Brown uses this as his personal notebook so that he can be a better CMO and co-founder of the Vibe Code app. And I basically state all of my goals. Why am I stating this? I know my goals. Why am I writing this? Because I don't use this by myself. I use this with my general agent, which is Claude Code. And what I can do here is I can actually click on this, or I can right-click on this and hit Reveal in Finder. So here we can see Riley Content Creation. That's basically what I called this file. And you'll see here all of these different files here. Like, this is just a wrapper of these files that are showing up on my computer, right? This is just in my computer. And so the same way that I ran Claude Code in a new folder, I can run Claude Code in this folder. So I can reveal this in Finder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click, Services, New Terminal at Folder, right? New Terminal at Folder. Now you can see here that it is running. So we're in this folder right here, which is the same folder where all of this is located. And now we can run Claude. And so now we have Claude Code running in the folder that has all of my notes. And so I can use it with Claude Code. So I could go into tasks, right? And this is how I keep track of my tasks. I could go into queue. Let's say these are both done, right? These are the things that I want to do. And so in my queue, one thing that I do want to do, and I can just drag this in here. One thing that I do want to do is I want to explain Claude skills to my audience and make a video, right? This is one thing that I really want to do. I want to share the file structure of Claude skills, and then I want to take my notebook and examine what Claude skills would be useful for me to create. And I'm do this on this page. Don't create or edit any other files, just make a plan and do it. Okay, so we just created this markdown file of this thing that I want to do. The cool thing is I can just ask Claude Code to do it. I can just say, do what's in my queue, right? That's all I need to say. I can yo, do what's in my queue. And because the first thing that this agent's going to do is analyze the README file, it's going to see how it's organized, right? It's going to know that there's tasks. It's going to know what the queue is, draft tasks. So it's just going to know to check the queue. And because Claude Code is such a powerful agent and it's really good at looking through the code base, in this case, which is just a bunch of my notes, it's going to find the right location. It's really smart. And it's going to find this page, and it's just going to do what I want it to do. And we'll just wait for Claude Code to do that. And you'll see here that we never said to look at this file. It doesn't know that I have this file open. It just found what's in my queue. And you can see here it's examining notebook for skill ideas. It found the right file, and now it's creating the relevant things. Allow it to edit this session. Boom! Look at that. So it just added all of this. It added all of this to this document. It told us what skills are, right? And it told us that from the Anthropic skills repo, it basically did research. It's found the Claude skills repo. And now it is telling us that you can create within the claude.md file, you can create a skill by creating a folder with the skill name. And inside that folder it needs to have a a skill.md file, and then you can put optional resources within that folder. And so you can even put assets, references, etc. And I'll get to that in just a second. The point I wanted to make is the same way Lovable was a coding specific example of using an agent, this is a notes specific example for using an agent. So I promise you, we're working our way up to creating Claude skills. I just wanted to illustrate the point. I wanted to talk about what a domain-specific agent was, like the Lovable agent that can create apps. Then I showed you a note-taking example where you can use Claude Code as a general agent. Now we're going to use it in a wide-open world within Cursor. And we can do literally whatever we want. I like to use Cursor because it's just the best, in my opinion, for quickly using Claude Code. And it's ironic because we can just say Claude Code skills. So we're going to be creating Claude skills in this project, so I'll just name it that. And now it is opening up this directory in an IDE. So Cursor is just an IDE like VS Code where you can view all the files. And so the way that I vibe code is I'm just going to come in here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is hit Command J. We're going to open up the terminal, and we're going to type Claude. Then we're going to press this right here to open up the side panel. And so now we have Claude Code on the left, or on the right, controlling this directory, which is Claude Code skills. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to say, please take a look at this repo, and I'm going to paste this GitHub to the Anthropic skills right here. Please create one simple skill in the right format so that you will use this skill when you need to. Okay, so right now it's creating an example skill. What it's going to do is it's going to create a .claude file. It's going to create a .claude file. As you can see here, it's created this .claude file. It's also going to create a skills folder, as you'll see in just a second. Okay, there you go. It created a folder called .claude, and then it created a skills folder within that, and then it has other folders beneath it. So it created this summarize folder with a skill MD. That's all you need to create a skill. You just need to put in the .claude folder because Claude Code knows to look in the .claude folder for certain things like subagents and now skills. We're not talking about subagents in this video, we're just talking about skills. So we created this skills folder. And within this folder, right, we see this skill.md. And every single skill.md file should be formatted with the name and description, right? It should have a name and description. You can see here that this one that I've created is called brand voice, which is skill number 1, and then there is a name and description. And so the name is just a human-friendly title. It can be anything. But the crucial part is this description, because it tells Claude Code when to use this skill. And so we're reaching a point where you can get agents to do things with a simple markdown file. But what you need to do is you need to make sure that you format it correctly so Claude Code knows when to follow your instructions. Because basically all skills are, the way that I think about them is they are just SOPs, or standard operating procedures, SOPs for agents. And so, right, these are instructions on what to do in certain scenarios. And if you put a high quality description, it'll know what instruction manual, or SOP, to use when it needs to do a specific task. And so I don't really want to use this summarize skill. I actually want to create a skill that's much more relevant to me. Okay, so I just want to show you what I've been doing. I've been annotating my Twitter posts because I can give these to Claude. I can put these in Claude skills so that the agent knows how I post. And so I can say, short video attached to this photo. This is a Twitter account that I run, by the way, that helps me grow vibe code. And I can say, senior vibe coder is rage bait and works. Don't do this often, right? And I just put this directly on the image, and it helps me kind of annotate my images here. And I'm just going to exit out, let's save, and we can save all these. And so what we can do here is we can just take all of these files, We can drag them in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a new skill here. And what we can do is we can just drag these images in here. Now we're going to go to Claude Code. I want you to replace this summarize skill. And because this is a folder, right, I can just type @summarize, right? I can say replace this summarize skill, the whole summarize skill should be replaced with a Twitter post, X post skill. This skill should allow the agent to create tweets in my style and use the images that are in the new skill here folder as a reference. So please create that skill now. So we're basically going to tell Claude Code to analyze these images. It's going to look for patterns in how I speak. And actually, one thing I can mention, I just hit the backspace. Just know the red text in these images are annotations. So that's not part of the post. These are my annotations to you on why I did certain things. So take that into consideration when constructing this skill. Right? So I annotated why I did what I did. So this gives some extra context to Claude Code, and it's going to package it as a skill. And so in theory, whenever I ask for a Twitter post to Claude Code in the future, within this repo, it should be able to do it in my style because I've given it relevant context. Okay, so there you go. It created this skill.md file, and all it did was analyze all of those images. It converted them into these markdown formats, and it converted it into a skill. What it didn't do is, I didn't specify this. That was just a temporary folder. Please remove that folder, but add those images into that skill folder as references, because this doesn't need to be here. This can just go into the skill. And so right now we have 2 skills. We're going to add another skill in just a second. So we have 1 skill, and every skill needs a claude.md file. So it just created this, and now it has these references that it can use right here. What we can do if we want, references to posts. And we can select all of these, and we can just move them in here. So we have references and then the skill.md file. You need this skill.md file, right? And so what we can do, I want you to create a markdown file in the root. And when I say in the root, I mean, right, there's the folder that we opened up originally, which is Claude Code Skills. This is the root folder, so it should put it below the .claude folder. The .claude folder is also in the root. The skills folder is in the .claude folder, thus not in the root. Just wanted to be clear. In the root, and come up with 10 ideas for the Twitter copy based on my last video where I explained Claude skills. Should match. And then I can give it that GitHub repo link. I mentioned skills and explained why it's important for general use cases for marketing and as general agent. Okay, so let's say I made this video, because I'm making this video right now. What I would probably do is feed in the transcript of this video, and then it would generate 10 options, so it would have more context of the video we're creating. But since I'm making the video right now, I can't give it the transcript, but that's okay. It's going to create a markdown file in the root, and it's going to use this skill. Okay, so it is done. Okay, you'll see that when you see this green dot and it shows Xpost right here, when you see this green dot and it has Xpost, that means it's using that skill, right? It is using the Xpost skill, and we're going to allow it to create these files, and boom, Twitter ideas. So here we go. Claude Code just became a general agent, not a chatbot, an agent that does your workflows. Anthropic just released skills, reusable prompt templates, invoke with / commands, marketing teams. Okay, so this is really good. Oh my, this shouldn't be possible. I turned Claude into my personal marketing team. Social media copy on demand, email sequences in seconds, brand voice locked in permanently. 0 prompting every time. How? Claude skills. 1 markdown file, infinite workflows. This is very good. So it wrote this in my voice using this skill. But it gets much cooler than this. So if we were to go to, let's go to Arc. So we're going to go to typefully.com. And in Typefully, we can go to Settings, and we could go to API, and we can hit New API Key. And so this is going to be test key for me, create API key. I'm going to delete this right after this video. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this docs, and this explains exactly how to use this API key. So what I'm trying to do here is I don't want it to just come up with ideas. I want them to draft them in this tool where I can post directly to social media. So in theory, I could have an agent come up with tweets and automatically draft them within Typefully, because that's what you can do here on this platform, right? We could have it directly post this as a draft here, right? It can schedule a new draft. And so that's exactly what I'm going to tell it. So I want you to add to our XPost skill. I'm using the software Typefully. And I want you to, instead of putting these in a document, I want you to actually directly schedule these as a draft on Typefully. And so I am going to give it these docs to the API. Here are the docs to read. Here is my API key. It is in a text file, right? So I don't want to expose it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go key.txt. I'm going to paste my key right here. So I pasted my key in this file, and I can just go at key.txt. It is here. Please add to the skill using Claude skills. And I'm going to mention this link right here. Please make this skill such that it schedules it as a draft to this Typefully account. It should not post or schedule. Okay, now we're going to wait for the skill called XPost to be messed with. Okay, so it is done. And here we can see that your accounts available is Riley Brown, vibe coding explained. Okay, so this works. Maybe. Please test this by drafting one of the items in the list that we generated in, and then we can just go Claude skills, Twitter ideas. Okay, it looks like it is done if we come back here. Okay, it created this, right? It created this on Vibe Coding Explained. Okay, now on the Riley Brown account, draft a post that says, "Hi, this is a test." Okay, so it's done. If we go back to Arc, we go to Riley. Here we go. We see, "Hi, this is a test." This was 34 seconds ago. So that's pretty cool. We can have it draft posts. I'm going to just reset the context here. So we're opening up a new Claude instance to reset it, right? We're resetting it so that there's no context in here. And I'm going to say, I just created a Typefully video that explains how I created a Claude Code skill in order to post on all my Twitter accounts via Typefully. I want you to draft up 3 X posts and draft them on Typefully on the Vibe Coding Explained account. Oops, I misspelled it. Typefully is the app. Okay, so we interrupted it, but it was using the XPost skill. It should go back to using the XPost skill. Okay, do I want to proceed? Yes. Okay, so the drafts were created. Ooh, it has a link associated with it. Wait, what happens if we just go to this link? Wow. Skills repo. It even included that repo. No way. You can build custom skills for Claude Code, automate repetitive workflows, create one-click commands, share skills across projects, 0 coding required. Just dropped a full walkthrough how to do this. Wow. Okay, so it created these posts using the Typefully or the XPost skill. And in this skill.md file, it has access to this code, right? It has this code that the Claude Code can use to post this on social media. And what I need to do now is I need to delete my API key because I probably exposed it. All right, so there you go. We just created a general agent and we gave it a skill. And you know what? I think that's enough for you to get started. I don't want to go crazy and create an agent swarm or an agent with a ton of different skills, but we just created we used Claude within Cursor to create an agent, and then we just created one simple skill. And this is enough for you to get started because, as you saw, I just gave it the link, which I'll put in the description, to the Claude Code skills. So Claude Code can make your skills for you. And remember, you just create you have the root folder, right? And then within your project, you just have a .claude folder. Then you have another folder, which is your skills folder. And then within that, you just have the skill name. So this is just skill-1 folder. And then in here, you have a skill.md file. And within that file, it will have a name and description. And Claude Code will do that for you. Just make sure that when you create these skills, right, because you can create many of these. You can create skill 1, which we did, and we didn't create more than one skill, right? You can create as many skills as you want. I wouldn't go overboard, but if you want to create a general purpose agent and use Claude Code, this is how you can do it, and you can create a bunch of different skills. And so in the description, down below this video, you'll find a link to a webinar. I'm just going to do a big live stream where we're going to create a really cool agent interface with a ton of different skills. We're going to do it live. It's going to be 3 to 4 hours long. And so if you want to sign up for that, that's in the description. It's going to be sick. But yeah, this is just part 2 of my general agent series. I made part 1 on Obsidian, and I'm just going to continue this because I'm becoming much more interested in creating agents with skills. And in the future, we're going to mix agent skills with also apps. We're going to create a little interface where we can alternate between using an app that we create and the agent, and we can create things that both me and the agent can use. It's going to be like an agent interface or an agent workspace, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. So thank you guys for watching. Peace.